Hello everyone, Storm11 here. Today you'll be taking a look into for possibility for a tropical cyclone to be going across in the Gulf of Mexico here that could affect some of the Gulf Coast states. Plus, there is also for the possibility for an MCS or maybe a derecho that could develop across the Midwest, the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, into the Mid-Atlantic regions. We're going to first talk about the tropics, but I want to make a quick announcement first that Tropical Tippets is not working. If I click on here, it does not work because I Levi Cohen on Twitter, which he is the owner of Tropical Tippets. He said that there's been like an update. It's not happened to everybody. It's happened to certain people for what type of program you have, which I am one of those type of people. And I guess I had a update and I'm guessing that the tropical temperatures is not fit to standards to the actual update, the updated thing now. That's why I'm guessing he was talking about there's not much they can do. He does not really know how to fix it, so I cannot get on tropical temperatures on my computer, which that means I can't show you guys the more of the tropical models, which this is very important. It's also bad timing too, and I've lost quite a few models as well, but at least I can still look models on my phone here. At least it still works, but I can't show you guys that. That's the main issue here. So, really kind of sucks, but we're going to use Windy as our main source for right now, like you guys seen for the past few videos. That's why you guys haven't seen Tropical Tidbits, because this is the reason why. And we don't really know when this is going to be fixed, but really, Windy is going to be our temporary uh, website for right now. But let's first take a look into the National Hurricane Center here. So there could be a system that may develop in the Atlantic here. For right now, as I know of, that it is has no threat to land. It's at a 50% chance in forming for the next 2 to 5 days. So it's right now has a 50-50 shot of really becoming a tropical system there. And we'll take a look to a couple balls here. So here's Windy. So your current low is southeast of Bermuda, hundreds of miles away. So it's 1 o'clock as of right now in Eastern time. If we move up to 9 o'clock here, it does start to deepen just a little bit. It kind of maintains strength. It does get a little closer to Bermuda. Here's its sustained winds. It's right at this point. This would be a more of a tropical depression. If we look into the GFS, which is doesn't look like it's gonna not really work with us, that's the NAM. Yeah, here's the GFS, pretty similar. So for right now, it's looking to be more of a tropical depression than anything else. You can see it then starts to move away. But the air has a little bit deeper of a low here, getting closer to tropical storm strength. But it kind of dies down a little bit, and then it's the angular low pressure system is right here, but then it starts to get sucked into a stronger low pressure system there. So, right as of right now, it doesn't have no threat to land at this point. Now let's go ahead and move on. The National Hurricane Center does not have a mention about this yet, since it's off the 5-day outlook here. We're gonna watch the Gulf here. As you guys probably seen at the beginning of the video, there's a possibility of a tropical cyclone that could develop in the Gulf here. It's very warm there right now. So let's zoom in here. So here's Tuesday here. You got your low pressure system coming off of Mexico here. And just kind of sits there, just kind of stationary. Then eventually at one point it starts to move out to sea, which is right here. And now it starts to move about Saturday of next week. So this is pretty far out. People have been talking about this for a while now. Um, this is likely going to change a lot. And people out there has been kind of misleading on things like the titles and stuff like that, which I don't really like because it is just so far out. And I agree with people saying it's just so far out. kind of doubt it with this solution, but models have been kind of consistent on this here. Some models were shown to be much stronger than this, but right now the models are kind of backed off as expected. The sustained winds from the European model, as you can see, it develops as 35 miles per hour. Then whenever it heads into land here, it's kind of like a strong tropical depression. Now, I think it's going to be, if this is the case, I think it'll be stronger than what this is showing because you got very warm waters. But look at all this rain here, though, on the eastern side of this going over New Orleans. Quite a bit of rain going through there. Here's the rain for the next 10 days here. As you can see, there could be quite a bit of rain, anywhere from 5 to 8 inches of rain if this verifies. GFS showing a complete different story. It actually doesn't really move around at all, so there is just so much uncertainty. So your low pressure system's actually over here. Oh yeah, I actually forgot to mention about stuff out in the Eastern Pacific, uh, which we'll take a look into that. Now let's go back to the European model. Let's go back to Saturday. Let's take a look into the waves here, how high the waves could be. So they could be up to 12 feet way out in the Pacific as it kind of deepens as it gets closer to shore. Let's see here how tall these waves could be or how high they could be, up to 7 feet. So if this verifies, there could be there'll be a pretty decent chance for some storm surge on some of these peninsulas here of Louisiana. Up into New Orleans, it's not that bad. Here's 3 o'clock here. It's right now heading on to shore, so likely going to be some storm surge if this does verify. If it does, And here's the sea surface temperatures forecasted, which I just found this out here. As you can see, it's very warm. Let's actually try as well. This is I don't know if this is the current. I'm guessing this is what this is right now. So this is your current sea surface temperatures here. It's in the 80s, so it's very, very warm. If we go back here, you can see again all this rain here. And it's really your tropical system just hits Lake Charles there. But really most of the rain goes over to New Orleans. So it's also a little bit of a disorganized low too. That probably explains why it's weak. See, a lot of that rain goes through Jackson, Mississippi, but again, this would likely change here. Um, the only downside about this, if this verifies, is the storm surge and the amount of rain that can fall with this. And like I said, the GFS doesn't show nothing, so the uncertainties are very high with this system. Now, I've looked into the Canadian model, which I haven't shown you guys. It's a pretty similar track to what the European model was showing. It's also a stronger low, but that's the Canadian model. It does not do as well as the European or the GFS models, but we're going to see about that. Let's turn our focus to the severe weather side of things here. So right now, what they have for right now on the 4 to 8 day outlook is predictably too low on all days. Now, I want you guys to look in here. In day 6, which is Wednesday, into day 7, which is Thursday, there's a more favorable pattern for MCS development that may materialize across parts of the Midwest and Ohio Valley to the Central Appalachians and the Mid-Atlantic states as an increasing moist and unstable air mass for every side along and south of the roughly west and east oriented front across these regions. And it just talks about the north central plains. Now, MCSs are similar to Derechos, but they have a big difference. Derechos, they last much longer, they do more damage. Meanwhile, for MCSs, they're similar, but they weaker and they do not last as long. So there's a big difference there with it. So there is the possibility for MCS or perhaps a derecho with this type of setup here. Now I've been seeing this setup here for the past quite a few days now, and the models are having a hard time trying to show this development here. The GFS ensembles have it across the Great Lakes into the northeast, but I think that's a little bit too far to the northeast because other models have it a little bit more to the south and west here. So, if we look into the GFS here, it's actually I want to show you guys of how some these things here are created. So here's Wednesday here. You got a low pressure system, you got a front here. There's a very moist and unstable atmosphere in these areas in here. So these storms here uh, has a lot of instability to work with, stuff like that. Now I highly doubt it's gonna die out before it reaches to the Ohio River Valley, but it does pop back up again as more of scattered in nature. But again, here's your front right here. Now, typically on MCSs or Derechios, they really kind of start off with a stationary front, which you have it right here. So at this point here, there's a pretty good chance for stuff like that to happen in these areas here. You got a cold front right here. Now, the last run showing in a pretty widespread event, beginning in Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, going for Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, and even into Pennsylvania. Now let's back this up here. So here's Wednesday here. There might be one trying to develop there again along that stationary front. So at this point here, your front is right here. You got clusters, thunderstorms here. So it's kind of a mess here. And these storms here will be moving from northwest to southeast here. Now you're heading into the next day. Those storms kind of flies by here. There might be another one trying to develop across the northern plains there, but doesn't really quite make it though. But this is something we gotta watch here very closely. And the GFS again has a little bit further north with this solution here. Here's your low pressure system. Here's your front here. Then here comes your cold front right here actually. So there's still a certain that do follow with this here. One way to tell if this is a MCS or Derecho type event is so this is your lightning flash intensity here. And when they're very high, something like this, there's a possibility there for maybe an MCS or Derecho. And with your front like this right here, these storms will be moving from northwest to southeast. This is also a bad scenario if this does verify for a lot of rain. If we take a look at your rainfall maps for the next 10 days, it doesn't show a lot, but really isolated amounts with this type of setup like this, more than likely 3 to 4 inches of rain. But we'll have a better idea with the higher risk models like the NAM, for example, and I believe we'll be able to see that on Sunday. And the time making this video is Friday, so I may have an update on there. So let me actually show you guys how the setup is with this here, how they're created. So really, first of all, you're going to get a surface front, or a stationary front, or whatever type of front, which you got one right here. And the instability, we're going to look at surface based here. This really gets to show you guys how much instability there is around. So it may start off with across the northern plains, the upper Midwest. So you can see here 5,000 Cape is more than enough. Your front right here, you do have some sign in around, but it's not really strong. But you got plenty of instability here to work with. Here's the next day right here. You got quite a bit of instability across Kentucky, back into Kansas there. But this is a little bit more of a different story. Really, the better setup, better look for one is something like this here. So hour 126. Your next step here is you're gonna have a jet stream. A pretty good 500 millibar winds. And as you can see here, it's a little bit off though. Actually, not that off at all. You're gonna have to have some stronger winds here, and this is about enough here. Pretty much, it's close. But you need some strong winds in the upper area, upper levels of the atmosphere. Something like this here would be good. It'll be a little bit better up here with numbers like this high. There, that's a little better. Now, you need to have a moist, some dew points, which is your uh, moisture, humidity, and all that stuff. As you can see here, with these very high values here, you can see a lift index is very high as well. As you gotta continue on, you got dew points in the 70s, so this is a very favorable, um, a pretty favorable environment for some MCSs or derechos with numbers this high. This is stuff that they want. If you have high instability or the Cape, adding on top of that, if you got a very moist atmosphere, you have a chance for something like that to happen. And with models have been showing something similar like this, the front kind of stalls out. But let me actually look back into the wind speed here very quickly and see. Kind of shows it doesn't really show that, but not too far off. But there you do have some 500 millibar winds there. But anyways, guys, don't have don't really have anything else to really talk about this, but things will likely change as we get closer to this event. And same thing for this. Both of these things here are pretty far out events. Both of these are next week, so things will change as we get closer to those events. But anyways, guys, this is all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys have liked this video, hit that like button. If you really do like my channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you never miss an upload. If you guys got questions about this, you can put in the comment section down below. I will answer you guys' questions. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.